Well, hey everybody, it's good to be back with you, and we are now in day 1 of week 3, and we're talking about anticipation and expectancy. So it's all about our posture towards God and our posture in listening to Him. So just quickly to review the last couple weeks here, we have talked about God's identity, who He is. We've talked about our identity and who we are. We talked about this invitation that we have to intimacy with Him, in speaking to Him and Him speaking to us. We've talked about how we hear from God, how to test what we hear, and also how do we actually engage in this process with other people. And so we talked about 1 Corinthians 14:3 and offering things that we feel God has placed on our heart in ways that are encouraging and strengthening and comforting to others. But today we're talking all about our posture with God. And so the question is, how are you doing right now today? How are you with God? And it's something we're actually going to walk through with this little card. And this might be something that you were handed, so you already have it in your hands, or it may be something that you're going to be sent via email or available to download. But it actually just lists a bunch of different postures that we might have. Now, when you think about Scripture, you see David, you see Moses, you see the disciples, and their postures changed all the time. Sometimes they were leaning in with Jesus and saying, yes, I'm all in, let's do this thing. And other times, it's like, teacher, that's a pretty hard teaching. Maybe I'm not so much into this anymore. And their posture towards Him changed. And so we need to expect that ours is going to go through this up and down as well. But what's important is that we actually invite God to speak into this, because there might be things underneath the waterline, underneath the surface that He wants to talk to us about. And so we need to pay attention to our posture. So if you have this card or you have it downloaded, take a look at it. And you're going to see things like, Jesus, right now I am abiding in you. Or right now I'm challenged by you. Or right now I'm really disappointed with you. And there's all kinds of positive or negative postures that we might have. And it could be that you look through this and really none of them are for you, and that's fine. Or maybe there's 10 or 11 that you could say, actually, yeah, that's me these days. There's even a couple blanks down here. Maybe it's one that's not listed. So I want you to spend time today working through this card and to check off the different postures that might be applicable to you and your heart and your mind today. And then to take some time to listen and to reflect with these questions below. Now, I want to read a quote for you here from Brammer. He says, often when we're disappointed in the slowness of God, our hearts take offense at God. We abandon our sacred calling and purpose when we do this. This too is part of the testing of our faith. We must resolve not to take offense at God and to process all of our disappointments, to hold steady to what He has promised us. It isn't easy. It requires intestinal fortitude, steely resolve, unrelenting determination, continual process, death to self, and a steady hand at the wheel. So we need to process how we're doing, even in our disappointments. We need to process how we feel about God and our posture towards Him. And so I'd like you to do that. But at the same time, as soon as you finish that, I want you to flip that card around, because then we get to take a look at God's posture towards us. And it's a look at Psalm 139. And I'd love for you to actually slowly work through Psalm 139, see what He might have to say to you through that, and then work on those listening and reflection questions at the bottom. So take a look at that. How are you doing? Take a look at the backside, God's posture towards you, and then we'll pick this up again tomorrow.